All right, folks, check this out. Woo! We are finally going to assemble this motor. Yes, sirs. We are going to get this baby cranking. So, yeah, we're not going to do a lot of talking. I apologize for how long it's been, man. I feel like it's been forever. Man, I've been acquiring parts. I've been getting this motor exactly the way I want to assemble it. And we are prepared to get everything taken care of. Finally. I also had to take a break for a minute, and I had to, I got to make some money. Because in order to make this stuff, in order to pay for it, you got to have money. And also I needed to eat and pay those stupid bills and, the electricity and, crap like that. But anyway, yeah, so we are back. We are finally, look at that beautiful motor. All disassembled. Oh man, that thing looks sick. Anyway, what I did was I first took it to a place called Express Metal Cleaning, and yeah, we got this thing stripped of all the black paint, all the factory black paint gone, and it was dipped and chemically stripped, and then it was taken to Kenny over there at Vapor Blasting by Design here in Phoenix, Arizona. If you want to get your stuff looking sweet like this, give that cat a call. Woo! He does a fine job. Look at that. Anyway, the vapor blasting, what it does, it seals all the pores in the aluminum right here, so there's no need to do anything else to it. There's no finishing needed. It is ready to rock and roll. It will resist corrosion, since the pores are all nice and sealed and everything from the vapor blasting process. It will resist grease and grime and all that stuff. Of course, if you dump some on it, it's gonna probably stay there, but it'll clean right off. It won't absorb in or anything like that. And look how beautiful that looks. Woo! Anyway, I'm gonna show you a picture of the mock-up. I have this all put together, but not assembled on the innards. Just mocked up in the machine. Yeah, check that out. So yeah, check out that. Woo! That is what we're gonna accomplish when we're finished. That is gonna look beautiful, man. So yeah, take it in. That's what the finished product is going to look like once we get everything rocking and rolling. Without further ado, let's get on to what we're doing here. And so basically, let me explain something here. All the pieces are laid out. What we're going to do first is we're going to take the left side and we're going to drop the bearings in. And we're going to take the right side. We're going to drop the bearings in here also. The main shaft, countershaft, and the shift drum. And on this side, we're going to drop in the main shaft and the countershaft. And we're not going to do the main bearings though. This is a little bit of a different process I'm going through this time. We're going to see how it works out. But the main bearings are already pressed onto the crank on both sides. Because the 200X here, the 86 200X, has a gear that goes on one side that's pressed on. So I had the shop do it. Both sides. It's already done. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the right side. We're going to put the case in the oven at 300 degrees. So, shit, without further ado, let's, oh yeah, we got all this laid out. This is how it's going to work. There's our little diagram of where these little numbers are from motosport.com diagrams, and they're basically all the Honda OEM diagrams. No matter what website you go to, they all use the same numbers, which is awesome. So the transmission bearing number 33 and number 34 are going to go into those little holes right there. And we need our oil guide plate right there. That's going to go right on into here first. So you can't forget that, of course. And yeah, on this side, we got a little retainer plate that we're gonna have to put on there. We're gonna use some red Loctite, and we're gonna get that done. And we're gonna get to town. So yeah, let's start out the process, shall we? So yeah, if you're new here, make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you crank that bell down there to get notified. All the stuff coming up here. I took my break, so we're definitely going to get right on down into this. We're going to start putting this motor together, get this baby fired up. Fire it up and let the engines roll. It's time to burn it down. Some more Black Label Society going on right there. Fire it up. Yeah. Alright, so check this out. This is my freezer. Boom. So check it out. In the freezer, we have all the bearings that we're going to be putting in there. There's all the bearings that are going to go into the cases right there. And there is the crank with the bearing. It's already on it. I don't know if you can see it that well. You can see the bearing right there. But this has been freezing since yesterday. And we are going to close this up to keep them cold. We're going to come on over here and we are going to set our oven to 300 degrees. Boom, 300 degrees. Now we're going to let that preheat, and as soon as it's preheated, we're going to drop the case in there. And we're going to get this process started. Oh yeah, and we got our fine welding gloves right here too, so we can pick them up once we're done. We're going to take them out in the garage and we're going to drop the bearings in there. So, well, let's just wait for this oven to preheat and get to town. Alright, now that our oven is ready, we can put the case in there. We're going to do them one at a time, so that way we can keep it hot while... Anyway, what you want to do first, before you put them in the oven, which I've already done, is hit them with some acetone. You want to just clean the bearing surfaces with acetone to get everything off of there, and then when we put it in the oven, that'll help get rid of all the contaminants and all that good stuff. So let's get these babies on in the oven. Now we wait a half an hour. Alright folks, we got some boards set up right here because we're going to have to drop the crank in and we need some room for it to come through. So, without further ado, let's go get that case out of the oven and drop us some bearings. Alright, I'm going to have to work fast. I'm not playing around. Got to go get the bearings and the crank. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to put in this little oil guide plate right there. And then we're going to take our bearing with the righting side up. Oh! And it didn't go. And this bearing goes seal side down. We'll see if it works any better. We're going to have to press that one in. That one dropped in. There it went. Oh, thank God. Now, we hope to God the crank drops in. Okay, now the crank goes in right like so, and you want to make sure that this guy is up through And it dropped right in. Whew! Okay, fellas. That was a freaky situation. I didn't think that one bearing was going to go in there, but it did. Thank God. So, we are bearinged up right here. Alright, now that we got our bearing in this side, let's go put the other half into the oven and do this again. Alright, so now that this stuff has been in the freezer, there's going to be some condensation on it. You can see right now the crank is still pretty frozen. So I'm going to wipe some of this off, and then we're going to hit it with the MPPL multi-penetrant lube, and that'll displace some of the moisture and keep it from rusting and stuff like that. So let's then you want to just drive these around a little bit. Alright folks, now it's time to go get the other half. It's been in the oven long enough, and let's get her done. As you can see, we got rid of the wood, and we got ourselves a little firmer surface to work with here, just in case we need to crack one of those bearings down. So let's get her done. And once again, we're going to have to work quick. First up is the shift drum. You want to make sure the writing's up. Yes. Okay. And then next is our countershaft. The writing goes up. Yes. And then we got our main shaft. And again, the writing's up. And there we are. Thank God. Now, once again, we'll let this cool a bit, and then we'll hit it with the MPPL spray. All right, now this has cooled down a little bit. Let's hit it with the MPPL spray. Make sure that moisture gets displaced on out of there since it was in the freezer. Now let's take it inside to cool down with the other one, and we'll get to town. Woo! All right, folks, there we are. We are bearinged up and ready to rock and roll. We're letting these babies cool off, and then we are going to get out the old motor stand and get to assembly. Woo! Beautiful. All right. Now that our cases are cooled down, nice and cool, we got a couple things that we need to do before we can start putting the transmission in. For one thing, we need to put on this bearing plate, bearing retainer plate right here. They call it the bearing holder plate. And it's going to go right here into these two holes right here. And it's going to cover this bearing up. And we're going to also have to put a seal into the left side cover. So let's get this baby together, and then we can get our transmissions cleaned up and reassembled and get to assembling this motor. This is exciting. Yeah. All right, so let's get the plate in there. So the way this is going to work is this guy is going to go through the hole, and it's going to stick out the other side. And that is for, I believe, the cam chain guide. So let's get that in there. And what we're going to do, since this is on the inside of the motor, we don't want any of this coming apart. We're going to use some red Loctite. And this thing calls for, the torque spec on this is between 7.2 and 10 foot-pounds. I'm going to use 88 inch-pounds, which comes out to about 7.333333 forever. 88 is my go-to, so we're going to use 88 inch-pounds on this dog right here. So let's get it torqued up. And there we go. 88 inch-pounds. Ready to rock and roll. Now let's get the seal into the left side, and we can get to commencing. Woo! Alright, next we got the left side of the case, and we're going to have to put a seal right in here. We technically could do this later, but we might as well just get it over with and get it done. Yeah, we got a seal, brand new seal, OEM, and an O-ring, snap ring circlip that goes over the top. And the way this is going to go, it's going to go in just like so. But we are going to put a little bit of the ultra slick assembly lube around the outside of the, not a lot, just a little bit. So I got a little container. All right, then we'll just pluck this sucker right on in there if we can. You want to just make sure that it's flush in there and that you leave enough room for this circlip groove right there. And it looks like we've accomplished what we wanted to. Yes, I felt it bottom out. And I'm just going to take a little bit and put it on here too, just to stop the corrosion and stuff a little bit. I mean, you don't need a lot. I'm just going to put just a little bit on here just to keep it coated with something. See, it kind of absorbed all of it, so that's pretty cool. All right, so yeah, let's what we're going to do is we're going to snag it like so, and we're going to compress it enough to get it inside the hole. And there you go. I don't think it matters where these little things are. I guess it's just I'm one of those weird cats. Let's put it so that it's exactly in between these two marks right here, so that it looks all uniform and beautiful. Looks perfect. All right. Now we can move on to installing, we can move on to cleaning up our transmission and getting all that situated, and then we are on to assembly. We're moving. Let's go. Woo! All right. Now that we got the crank installed and the bearings into the cases, we can move on to the transmission. We're going to install the transmission first, and we're going to get these cases sealed up. But first, before we do that, we're going to have to clean this up, because if you were watching the other videos where we tore this thing down, this transmission was pretty screwed up. And yeah, here's the countershaft is all, man, you can see it's all trashed and screwed and chewed up. And here's the second gear laying down here. It was in the bottom of the case. I don't know where most of the pieces went. They must have fell out along the way somewhere. But anyway, we can see metal shavings on here. And so we're going to take this apart. We're going to get this guy taken apart and put through the ultrasonic cleaner and get all those metal shavings off before we put it together. So let's get it broke down. And we'll make a note of how all this works. These guys go this way. And this guy, and then it has a washer. When this guy goes this direction, these little gear indents face out. So we'll just face everything down. And then next is this gear. And it goes with these guys facing in. Now we have a snap ring on there. Let's try from the other side and see how much of this stuff stays. Then of course this guy goes like this. Another washer. I think we may just leave those on there. I don't know why this won't work. That sucker just does not want to come off of there. Well, rather than ruin anything, I think I'm going to leave that sucker on there. It is not being very cooperative. Alright, so I finally got that damn thing off of there. And alright. So anyway, then this gear comes off with a washer. And then this little guy comes off. And somebody had this wrong, by the way. This is supposed to be right there. No wonder why somebody had this thing jacked up. This oil hole is supposed to be on top of this oil hole, and somebody had it over here. So thank God we did take this apart, because look, this guy is supposed to be over here. See, check it out. Oil holes, the bushing, are supposed to be in line with each other. And they were not. So thank God we took this apart, because that wasn't getting good oil flow. And that's probably why this transmission blew the gear. Now this guy just slides over. See, it was over here. So we need to slide it over and unlock it. And don't let it slide back on again. Now we have another gear, and it goes with the flat side away from the sprocket side. And then another oil, and that one was, I think, oh, this one's universal. So then we got an oil guide and another washer. There, now I feel better, because we need to get all this in the ultrasonic cleaner, and we'll get all them little particles out of this. Good thing I did that. All right, let's get this baby cleaned up now, and we'll scrub them up, and we'll get everything beautiful, and we'll oil them. We'll oil them up as we put them back together. But yeah, let's get these transmissions put back together and get them into the case and get this baby sealed up. We're on our way. Woo! Yes. All right, now that that is in the ultrasonic cleaner, let's get this dog taken apart here. So this guy comes off like this. And then, jeez. And then that comes off, and these face in. And then this guy turns. And then this guy comes off and goes in. And then a washer. And then a snap ring. We'll see if we can get this one off. Last one didn't want to come off. This one looks a little bit easier. There we go. And then that guy. And then this guy with the bigger ones in. There we go. And then this guy. And then a washer. And then a gear with these facing out. And then another oil ring. And then another washer. This one looks like it didn't have any metal or anything in it. It looks pretty nice. All right, let's wash this stuff up too. And then we'll get our both our main shaft and our counter shaft back assembled again. All right, folks, we're back from the ultrasonic cleaner. Look at how beautiful everything looks. And we have everything laid out the way it's going to go together. So all these pieces are going to go on just like the diagram. So here you go. There's our fine diagram, and we've labeled everything, got everything ready to rock and roll, and let's put this sucker together, shall we? Whoo, yes we shall. All right. What I'm going to do is, I also have this fine dog right here. This is from when I cooked burgers on the grill. Save the plastics. And we got oil down there, and we're going to build everything right in the oil, because this is going to be oiled up. So let's just drop that right in there. Boom. And get some gloves on and get to assembling. All right, let's get that rolling around in there. All right, so I didn't think this through, because now I got to pick everything up off of there, and now I'm full of oil. Well, that wasn't cool. All right. So let's just take all this stuff. We're gonna put us on a washer, first. And then we got a little oil, and this one doesn't matter how it goes. Because it just spins freely. And then next we have a gear. And it's going to go with the little teeth up. And then next is going to be this little washer guy right here. And it's going to drop right in the splines there. And then next we got a little circlip. And we're going to have to spread that guy out. There we go. Then you want to make sure you get it in the groove, which we did. And that's what we should have so far. And then next we have this guy, and it's going to go with these teeth facing towards the gear. Get it good and oiled up. Then these gears are going to face towards here. Because they're gonna reach out and lock into here. Like so. And then we have another circlip that's going to go into this groove right here. There we go. So it goes right into that little groove right there. It prevents this guy from going anywhere. And next we have this little washer guy. And then we have another oil groove. And so this guy has an oil hole right here and an oil hole on here. So we want to make sure that we match these holes up. And then facing the diagram this direction, now we have this gear. This is the 24 tooth. And it's going to go with these teeth facing in, because they're going to lock in with these guys. So every once in a while, this guy's going to slide on up here and latch this guy. And then we got a splined washer. And then we got another splined washer, and this one, make sure that these guys, the little notches, are facing in towards this guy. And this one right here, this guy, I forgot to mention, this guy locks into place. So you want to take it, put it on, and then slide it so that it locks. And then these little ridges are going to lock into there. Boom, like that. And then our last gear looks like it's universal. And then it just slides right on like so. And that's all there is to that. Now our main shaft is hooked up. We can set this baby aside and we can get to assembling the counter shaft gears and all of that good stuff. And let's set it aside. All right, folks. Now that we have the main shaft assembled, let us get to putting together the counter shaft. And this one's a little more tricky because there's a couple of waves we're going to have to do here. Like the circlip section right here is going to be put in the center first. And then we're going to put on the ends. Each end is going to start here. These are basically going to lock into these little slots right here. And these are going to lock into these little slots right here when they're shifting. So this section right here is going to go with this side, and this section right here is going to go with this side. Or vice versa. I'm not really sure. We'll have to figure out how this all works. But anyway, we're going to put the center together first. And I have everything laid out the way it all goes. So let us grab our fine oil dunker / workstation right here. Yeah, and again, if you weren't paying attention earlier, this is Save Your Plastics. This is from hamburger patties that I bought to bust out the grill and have some hamburger patties. And yeah, it makes for a nice little workstation here. Anyway, so I'm going to try to be a little more, we're going to dunk this guy. Get the oil flowing all up in there. All right, so we're going to assemble from this side first. And the very first thing we're going to do is a washer. And next is one of these bushings with the oil hole in it. And these are universal once again. They're doesn't matter which way they go. This one doesn't matter. The other one's going to matter. So we'll get to that in a second here. All right, now these gears, you want to make sure you put them on. Basically what's going to happen is, I'm going to show you. We're going to want these little slots right here facing out this way. And reason being, as I just showed you a minute ago, is those little teeth grabbers right there are going to grab these, and we're going to assemble some more stuff this way and some more stuff this way, but we'll get into that. It's kind of tricky. Okay, we got that. Next, we're going to put one of these 6 teeth washers. And it's going to go right into this little slot right here. And then what you want to do is turn it so that it exposes and locks onto these little splines right here. Because next we're going to take this guy and see how these little slots are. They're going to go into the open slots we have now. Boom. And what that does is basically lock this guy so it can't come back off. And then we're going to put us another pilot oil bushing on here with the oil hole. This one matters. This is the one we were talking about earlier where somebody had this on wrong. I showed you in the diagram. I would show you, but I'm all oily. You have to go back and look when I did it. But this little hole right here needs to go match up right like so. See how this oil hole right here? It needs to cover this oil hole. Somebody last time when I took it apart had it over here. And that's not right. I showed you in the diagram how it works. You'll have to go back and look to take my word for it. Anyhow. Now, this gear is going to be the opposite way. And you want to make sure that these are facing towards this direction. And then we're going to get one of these 3-teeth washers. It's kind of easy to remember. The 3-teeth washers always go with the circlip, and the 6-teeth washers always twist and then get the other washer that locks it in. It's like a lock washer, so it needs all 6 of them to be better. This one only needs 3, apparently just a placeholder. Anyway, so now we have the circlip that we fought like hell to get that thing on there, off of there, I mean. Now we need to get it back on, which is going to be fun. Aha. Boom. All right, we got that thing to snap on there. Okay. Now we're locked in with the center. All right, now we got that snap ring on there. Let's just continue going this same direction. That's all nice and good. So we're just gonna keep on building out this direction. And I do have these laid out the wrong way because, you know, if it was facing this way, we should have had the pile over here. But anyway, we're gonna start with this pile over here. So we're gonna grab this guy and get it good and oiled up. And basically, you want this little raised part to go inside like this, because it's going to snag these gears like that. All right. And then next, we got us a washer. And then we got our gear. And this gear is very deceiving because in the diagrams, it shows that the backside right here is supposed to go like this, but it is not. After lots of research and in the manual and everything else, all the photos of every transmission that I saw on eBay, every transmission that I saw in the manual, and every transmission that I saw, this faces out. So it goes on like so. And then there is a little oil bushing that goes in here and caps this thing this direction. So that's how we should be. And then I guess this slides inside of there somehow when it's rolling down the road or something. I don't know, but that's the way we should look. Just like so. And now, we'll have to hold that guy. Now we can continue on the other direction. And next we're gonna put on our 25 tooth gear here. And we'll just get that all oiled up nice. And then once again, this guy is gonna face this direction because it's gonna lock in there every once in a while. And then next, it's kind of working the same as the other direction. Now we have this little slot right here where we're going to have a washer that goes in there. So then we have this nice little washer. It fits on down to right here. And then we have our 35 tooth gear, and this is the same direction as the other way, as the other side back here. Let's put the oil ring on first. This one doesn't cap like the other end does, so let's just go ahead and put this oil bushing on there. And once again, this doesn't matter which direction it goes. Slickery. And then this guy is going to fit around the outside, just like so. And that's all there is to that. And that is what we should look like. So now we can get our cases handy. We can get our left case up here on the stand, and we can drop this transmission in there and get to assembling. So let's get it done. Woo! This is exciting. We're going to be able to shift gears here pretty soon. All right, let's get this baby inserted into the cases. Woo! All right, now that we got our transmission cleaned up and assembled, we need to put them together, and we're going to install them together as the main shaft and the countershaft in one unit. All right, so this is going to work. We're going to pick this dog up in one piece, and we're going to put the countershaft through the countershaft bearing, and we're going to drop the main shaft into the main shaft bearing in the case, and then we are going to put the shift drum in. But first, let's get this dog up on in there. All right. All right, now we're ready to drop our transmissions in the proper slots. Before we do that, let's take us some Permatex Ultra Slick engine assembly lube and hit these bearings. All right, now it's time for our transmission gears. Let's see if we can't get those babies to go on in there. And you'll be able to watch right back here. I don't know if I'm seeing if the camera's working like I wanted to, but right back here, you'll be able to see that baby come on through right here. So here we go. We got our transmissions hooked up, and we just put them right in here. Uh-oh. And we fucked up. We try again. All right, well, I'm going to take the end gear off and try that one more time. Oh, God, come on, man. I'm sorry if my head gets in the way. Ooh. There we go. And I did it without that top gear on because that thing, this end piece was getting in the way. So now we just put this gear back on after I find the piece that fell on the floor. All right. And then we just have a washer. And we have the end gear. And then we have this little oil flow bushing that goes in through here. And now this is supposed to bind up. It's not going to shift freely until we get the shift drum and the shift forks in there. But we just want to make sure that everything is connected like it's supposed to be. And woo, that seems like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Alright, now that we've got the transmission in there, we can put the shift forks in. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some assembly lube onto each one of these. And this is the right side goes on top, right in that slot right there. And then we have the center, which goes into that slot right there. And then the left. And you want to make sure that all these have the markings facing down. And the left one on the bottom Alright, so now what you want to do is you want to have all the fingers facing this direction, and then we're going to put the shift drum in, and we're going to line those little fingers up into these little slots. So this is the bottom one, this is the center, and this is the top one. Now it's kind of tricky. And it looks like okay, that's in there. Actually, we're going to try to put this top one in there first. Okay, that one's in there. Now, let's get our center one. And I'm going to use a screwdriver just to pick it up a bit. Try anyway. Okay. Now the center one's in there. Now, the tricky one. Now we got to get that bottom one in there. Alright, I had to move the camera a bit. So basically, the bottom one needs to lift up boom! And fit in the slot. Alright, now that we got all the fingers into their respective slots, now we need to put the shift fork shaft down through. And it's going to go right down through here, hit all three of those forks, and then into the case hole. A little bit of assembly lube on here. Okay. And now the bottom one's going to be a little tricky. We got two of them. We're still in the slot. The fingers are still in the slot down there. I'm going to have to use my screwdriver again to push it a little forward. There we go. We're in the slots. We made it through the hole, the case hole also. And now we should be able to shift gears. While this thing's turning. Yes, we are shifting gears, peoples. I think we're in first gear right now. Maybe neutral. No, I think we're in first. Maybe that's neutral. Our transmission works. Alright, so now we can test this thoroughly to make sure that all the gears work perfectly, which they do. And now we can put these the cases together. Boom! We're ready. Alright, peoples. We ran into a snag. We cannot put these cases together quite yet. So we're going to have to move on. We're going to have to wait for one more video before we can put these cases together. God damn it. I was on a roll finally. I finally got back into this, and whoever sold me the gasket kit is the wrong one. It says it's for an 86-87 200X. It is not. I believe this gasket kit is for a TRX 200SX. They have the same exact top end. The top end gaskets will all work, but the bottom end is a tiny bit different on everything, and I can tell it's for the TRX 200SX because check this out. This is the other side of our case, and obviously it doesn't work proper right here. And this is the way the 200SX works. It has the motor mount goes all the way through both sides. The 200X only has a motor mount half on the other half of the case, and that's it. No starter and none of that stuff. Reverse gear. So this is definitely a kit for a 200SX. So crapola. And check this out. Here's the diagram for the 200X. You can see that it needs to have 3 bolt holes right here instead of the motor mount where this one has it. And here is the diagram for the 200SX. And you can see that it has the motor mount curve on it. That's the one we have. So yep, next video we're going to crank on in there, so make sure that you, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to ring that bell, notify when the new videos come out. I apologize once again, this one's been a while in the making, and we're getting back into it again. I already got, guess what? I already got the parts ordered. Yeah, I already got the proper gaskets, they're on their way. Next video. And yeah, folks, check it out. There's one more idea of proof that this is for the SX and not the 200X. Because look, this is the clutch cover, and it does not even come close. But if you look at the diagram, here is the clutch cover that I have. And this is for the 200SX. So in case you guys were all wondering about swapping motors and bottom ends and stuff like that, well, now you know. They are not the same on the bottom end. Top end, completely the same. They even have the same valves and the same rockers and everything. Anyhow, just thought you guys wanted to know that, and we'll get on down to business here pretty soon. As soon as we get the parts, we'll get on down to business. Alright, peoples! Woo! Here we are! Yeah! So, next video, we're going to go ahead and put these cases together. And like I said, you know, we can't do it right yet because of the stupid gasket situation. But anyhow, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell down there. Ding, 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 to get notified. All the good stuff's coming up. And make sure you hit all. Yeah. We get notified when all the good stuff's coming up. And yeah, you know what time it is. Peace out, Girl Scouts. Until another day.